Hello. Sorry about this. My phone case broke and I have to do this handheld because my mount that I usually have for these reviews is not working because I need to get a new phone case and this sucks. So back to handheld. So here's our video review for Scream or Scream 5. I don't know why they didn't just call this Scream 5. I don't know. I'm really tired of that.
Well, it's going with the theme of the requels.
I guess.
Because
technically,
they're doing exactly what the requels did, and that's what they're being meta about. So,
okay. Well, anyway, Scream 5. I actually just watched all of the Scream movies again. Before this week, I'd only ever seen the first and fourth one. I grew up loving the first movie. It's a classic. It really is a groundbreaking horror film in many different ways. It was the first mainstream horror film to be meta about the entire genre and address, the cliches and tropes of the slasher films. And it truly is a groundbreaking movie in many different ways. And
it brought
gotta thank Wes Craven for it. And the sequels, like I said, I just watched Scream 2 and 3 for the first time. Scream 2, I think is pretty solid. Scream 3, not a fan of at all. Scream 3 is really fucking stupid. And I'm not too terribly fond of the fourth movie either. I don't remember liking it that much when I first saw it, and I only saw it when it first came out. I actually didn't have time to watch the fourth one before this, but I do remember some things about it. And so now we have a new one, and this is not like the Halloween movies where it's a direct sequel. It is the fifth one. It is a fifth one. So this is not retconning the entire history of the movies. Everything has happened before.
Basic knowledge, you need 1 and 4.
But it doesn't really require you having
1.
watched. Yeah, as long as you watched 1, you're probably okay. But so it's kind of the same as the other Scream movies. A new killer is out there, and of course he's wearing the ghost face mask, and he's he or they. I obviously can't tell you who, because that's part of the fun of these movies is figuring that out. Someone's out there killing these people, and Sidney Prescott is back, as well as Gail Weathers, played by Courtney Cox, and Dewey, of course, is back. Most of the characters are back from the first couple movies. So I really enjoyed this movie. It was well done.
I'm not usually on the whole, I'm more entertainment kind of guy. But for cinema, I love the cinematography for it.
Mm-hmm. It's a good looking movie.
Mm-hmm. There's some very interesting shots.
Yeah, very well directed. Of course, Wes Craven passed away a few years ago
in 2015,
and obviously he can come back to direct this. But they got the group Radio Silence back, who directed Ready or Not, which I was a huge fan of, and this definitely did have vibes of that. There's of course, with Scream, part of the appeal of these movies is the meta comedy aspect of it, and the movie
they go hard, and the
movie goes hard in it. This movie is full meta in pretty much every aspect, so I really enjoyed that about it. It did go a little too heavy in a few scenes.
Yeah.
Like, I think it did try a little bit too hard.
It's just like a scene where they just kept naming horror films.
Yeah. If you're not a fan of that kind of stuff, then don't know why you're watching any of these movies because that's all these movies have been since the first one. So, but yeah, it's very well directed. The kills in this movie are gruesome. So if you're looking for good kills, this movie will supply you.
Yeah, I can't wait for the kill count. We both said
sorry.
at the same time.
I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm glad Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox and
David Arquette.
David Arquette. They're great in this movie. Of course they are. I'm really glad because obviously if you know behind the scenes, you know David Arquette and Courtney Cox were an item during the first few movies, and they split. They split right.
I think it was
before.
It was 2 and 3. They were together.
Yeah. They split right before 4, and I think the part of the fun about that is, of course, they're meta about it, so they obviously address, you know, that kind of thing, but subtly. Actually, never mind. These movies have never been subtle. But yeah, their chemistry is great. Neve Campbell is badass, of course. Love her in this. I like the new characters in this.
Yeah,
new characters are really good.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, one of the main things I was really worried about, because I knew the 3 were going to be great. We've seen them in all 4 films. What I was worried about is the new cast. Yeah. As you do with any kind of new reboot sequel. You worry about, is this new cast going to be good? And
they're pretty good.
I really enjoyed pretty much all of their performances.
Jack Quaid, who you of course know from The Boys, and Dylan Minnette, who is very famous from 13 Reasons Why. All of them are good. I didn't find anyone annoying in this. Who I did it. We of course won't spoil who's behind these killings, but one of these there's multiple killers in this, so no real surprise there. But I was a little bit surprised. I was a little bit annoyed by one of the killers in this, and I wasn't too big on that character, but
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I found them a little annoying. And not in the way that I found someone like Matthew Lillard in the first movie. He was crazy in a way that was just adorable. Not so much with this character. But yeah, the movie, I think, does fall into traps of, you know, a lot of legacy sequels fall into, where it does kind of feel like they're doing the same formula again, just packaged differently.
But I think
anyone who's going into this movie, if you're a fan of the others, I think you kind of want that still, because if this movie completely broke from the formula, then it would be severely hated. And I think they do address. I think like you said, they're aware. I think they're completely aware of what they're doing.
Yeah. There's no way that they're not.
I'm just being a cynical asshole and trying to be logical about this. Like,
you can't be logical with a Scream film.
So,
there's one other complaint I do have.
Yeah.
There were a few scenes where it was a lot of info dumping.
Yeah, a lot of exposition.
One of the ones I won't say what happens or anything, but between the sisters and the kind of emotional scene near the beginning, where it talks about her background.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a big info dump, but I think they did it well by having it be such an emotional scene. They did it well.
I guess so. I do kind of agree with that. It wasn't the best way to write that scene,
but they did it well enough with the emotions that were in it that kind of masked the amount of information you just took in.
Yeah. Overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I don't think it's groundbreaking. I don't think any of these movies have been great aside from the first one, just because it was the first of its kind really to do something like this, and each of the movies kind of do the same thing except change a few things, which is cool which is fine because, you know,
They just follow the genre.
Horror franchises typically don't really do, after the first one or the first couple, they really don't do too many changes. I see this franchise kind of the same way as Final Destination, where the first one really did, you know, try something new in the genre, and the sequels just kind of took that and ran with it and just, you know, basically did the same thing over and over again. But it can still be entertaining, and I was very entertained by this movie. Just don't go in expecting, you know, a truly
Masterpiece.
You're not going to be blown away by anything in this movie.
You're getting a Scream film.
If you are looking just for another Scream film, then you're gonna have fun with it.
Yeah, you're gonna be happy.
So yeah, I'm gonna give this film a 7.5 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Okay. Yep. And you gotta do the thumbnail.